I'm going to begin my presentation by speaking about this vision that we have for Costa Rica in 2030 and beyond. Allow me to start by saying that even though our nation is a very small nation, it's only about 51,100 kilometers, we have 26 of our area of the territory that is protected. Even though this is very small, we also account for 5% of the biodiversity of the world. We have this very strategic location, and our population is now, which is 5 million already people. And we have a demographic bonus at this moment because we have our population between 15 and 30 years, which is most of it. It accounts for at least over 35% of our population. We have been, ever since the 1940s, we had this vision on how we wanted our nation to be. And so from that moment, we have this, ever since the origins of our Second Republic, we had this idea about sustainable development. We spoke about growth with in distribution of wealthness, but at the same time with a lot of balance when it comes to protecting our resources. This is why we also had this vision on how important it was to have a sound governance, to have strong institutions, and at the same time, how important it was to invest our money not in an army, but actually to abolish the army and start investing in education and health. People at the center, people the most important asset we have, and the most important investment we actually do. And so right now we have one of the highest indexes of literacy, around 97%. We also have our multilingual country, and our goal is to become bilingual. We're teaching in our national development plan. We're certifying ourselves in 5 different languages. And our investment when it comes to education, because of the last fiscal reform we had, raises up to 10,000% of our GDP. It used to be 8, and now we're making the transition towards 11% or more. One of the things that we're most proud of is that we live in a democracy, and we have a long-standing tradition of democratic rights, of human rights, of respecting the rule of the state of rule. And this is why in the next couple of years, in 2021, we're going to be 200 years old, the independent republic, our bicentennial. And as we think our bicentennial, we also think about renewing our vows towards sustainable development and towards how we want the economy to be. But before, allow me to say that not only we have good institutions, but we actually have good public services as well. Our commitment, because of it is in our DNA, sustainable development, it was only natural that we could actually invest ourselves and be really committed with Agenda 2030. This is why we were the first country in the world to sign a pact on sustainable development, which brought together different branches of the state. It brought together also the private sector. It brought together civil society, local governments, because we were we understand that we need this to be about the different multi-sectors and about different sectors coming together to build upon sustainable development. And so we believe in multi-dimensional, multi-sector, multi-level governance. And we're working towards it. It starts with the president with this absolute vision and commitment with sustainable development, and it continues with the technical secretary, which makes all the decisions, the high-level decisions happen, and it is brought together along working groups which bring together the civil society, the public sector, the private sector, all together to make the magic happen. And we had 3 main aims, which was to fight poverty and to fight inequality, and at the same time we had another one which was about sustainable patterns of consumption and sustainable patterns of production, and leading our way towards climate change. Also, sustainable cities and resilient infrastructure. And these are our main 3 entry points towards Agenda 2030. It was only natural that with this vision coming from the president and being communicated in all the public sector, and SDGs is one of the things that are also one of the most important, our commitment towards this, and that we have a new national development plan and national investment plan. and it is our strategy that guides us all. And that is about establishing our strategy and what we want to accomplish for the next 4 years as a milestone towards the longer process, which is the decarbonization plan and at the same time the National Achieving Agenda 2030. So we thought about it, and then we said we had to go, being one of the happiest countries in the world, being one of the countries that has the highest indexes of human development, we need to preserve this. And the way to do it was to think outside the box and start establishing a different governance. And in that process of establishing a different governance, we thought about having different conversations. So we could actually have these 7 new areas of governance. And these are our priorities now, which goes from innovation and being competitive to having the best infrastructure, giving, in the end, excellent public services and public goods to the people, and having the people come at the center. Also, in our national goals, you can actually see what's the vision behind this development of our country. So we're aiming to be a prosperous society, to continue growing in 3.8 approximately of the GDP every year. We're growing right now at a steady pace around 3.3, but we aim to grow more. And also we aim to distribute that growth, that wealth between society so we can actually close the gap of inequality and also poverty. And we're also planning to do this with the best social policy that one can possibly think about, which is a good job. So this is the creation of an economy that is dynamic, that generates jobs, and at the same time, not any kind of job, but a job that is closing gaps of inequality, and also that allows to bring the transition of our economy towards, and of our matrix, our economic matrix, towards a more sustainable, decarbonized, innovative, and digitalized economy. So this is why it is the first time that we have actually a goal on this accelerating one of the CO2 emissions towards decarbonizing our economy. And we think about public investment as being one of the key issues in this promoting and being the engine of this sustainable development. Not just any kind of public investment, not just any kind of private investment, but one that is respectful and one that complies with the national development goals that you have just seen. So really prosperous, decarbonized, innovative, and at the same time that closes gaps in terms of inequality and poverty. We also have a very high commitment towards open state. So we're very committed with transparency and showing people and bringing back people together also, so we could actually have a governance that brings all sorts of civil society and having different conversations between civil society and government towards a more co-creation scheme. So this is part of what we're actually doing, and also working a lot on PPPs, because we believe that the private sector has this huge potential of generating wealth along with the state, and we can actually maximize the benefits as well. We have had very good examples of this model in progress, like in Limón, which is one of the areas that we have we need to start closing gaps. At the same time, we're thinking about rethinking our institutions, even though we're very proud of them and they are part of the wealth of our nation. Strong institutions that actually deliver public goods and public services in the best quality that generate value. And this is one of the key enablers, sound governance, for Agenda 2030 and for our decarbonization strategy. We also believe that we need to start rethinking and looking at our policy differently, because institutions are dynamic and they change, and civil society is actually asking every time for more, and so we need to deliver more and an answer to complexity from another perspective. This is why we are also looking in detail towards our processes, our institutional design, and our public management in order to make it more responsive towards the needs of society. And just for you to really, as a final message, for you to know that every effort that we're doing, we have come a long way. Democratic institutions, investing highly on education, abolishing the army, investing highly on health, because this is at the center of our welfare regime. This is what makes us one of the happiest nations in the world. But at the same time, that's not enough. So we need to rethink the way we're working, the way our institutions are working, the way we're managing our institutions, and the way we're connecting with people, we're connecting with the private sector in order to become one very powerful nation. Our nation is very small, but it is very big in terms of ambition. An ambition to become a decarbonized economy, an innovative economy, an economy based on knowledge and added value, and at the same time that is responsive towards the needs of people, and where women particularly have this very strong energy to become and to lead all the transformations in our state. So this is what we wanted to say, and we wanted to say also that we're very honored to be in this forum and sharing with you a little bit about our country. So, shukran.